Hello and welcome, my colleagues. My name is Venom of Venom Reviews, and today we're going to take a look at Mecha Break. After having tested Mecha Break personally both in the alpha and beta testing multiple times, I wanted to share my thoughts on the game overall. This game is still in early access testing and subject to change before the release, so take what I mentioned in this video with a grain of salt. Without further ado, let's get started. This game is a culmination of Armored Core's resource management and high-speed gameplay with Mobile Suit Gundam's aesthetic. The selection of mechs is comparable to a hero shooter with a variety of mechs you can select and modify. What you can modify currently is limited to paint jobs and small changes in stats that adjust how the mechs can feel. For example, giving higher energy regeneration while taking a cut in energy capacity, or an upgrade in movement speed while taking a cut in how quickly your mech can ascend. There's a lot of stats that can be adjusted this way using mod parts so that you can pick a mech that you enjoy and then decide if you want to play to its strengths or make up for its weaknesses. Personally, I liked adjusting my Falcon to have higher energy capacity and faster lock-on targeting instead of targeting range. That way, I was able to stay airborne for longer periods of time and lock onto targets immediately. A better example is how I modified my Panther. While he's great at tanking and crowd control with that lance of his, I enjoyed making him more reliable in the air by giving him mods that lessened his energy consumption used for melee attacks, and mods that lessened how much energy he uses while boosting in the air. This made it easier for me to track down high mobility targets, and made Panther's sword more of a focus since you need to be on the ground to prime his lance. Something I really want to go over though, is just how well this game encourages coordination and strategy. I played a lot of Panther, and noticed that if I wasn't defending a point or pushing enemies off the point, I was looking for a way to move someone out of position. I could defend a teammate with my shields, or create an opening for them with my lance. It really brought home that feeling I had with Gundam Evolution when you had a group that you really vibed with. There's never a moment I'm questioning what to do because I always felt useful, no matter what the scenario was or where I was on the map. You can't change mechs mid-mission either, so some of the skill in playing comes from knowing who to stick close to, or how to approach the enemy team after acknowledging what they brought to the match. None of this is to say that you'll always depend on your team, but rather you have an abundance of ways that you can adapt in the middle of the mission. Having the option to make tactical retreats towards allies or aggressive pushes into new objectives is really satisfying. This kinda adds some layers to the game's demand and skill level. You'll always be trying to destroy enemy mechs and doing what your mech does best, but can you optimize doing this when and where you're needed in the mission's objectives? There's a good balance between tactical skill and cognitive skill that leans players towards thinking about their next course of action over just rushing in immediately. Yet the game's atmosphere definitely supports that adrenaline rushing feeling, and in part due to the music. I mean, just listen to this. You can even see me kind of vibing there while I take an objective. The music all over this game is great and fits perfectly with the aesthetic. The last thing I want to go over is how much I'm enjoying the variety both in missions and mechs. The mechs all feel unique in how they perform, and yet the control scheme of the game feels natural to allow you to play any of the mechs with ease. It's fairly common in hero shooters that you may end up playing another class than you intended, but I feel Mecha Break handles the balance of this fairly well compared to most games. There's a wide enough selection of mechs to choose from with more being added as time goes on, and they're all very easy to adjust to. Someone take your Falcon? Sky Raider is another flight type that plays just like it. That taken too? Try Lumine, as it's really good with aerial mobility, and it's a valuable support role with its healing. This helps prevent burnout from playing only one mech, and teaches you the ins and outs of mechs you may face in the future. Speaking of missions and the variety offered, I really enjoy knowing that we have arena missions and objective-based missions. Normally I feel like there's a divide in how these feel to play, leading me to only stick with a certain mode or certain modes. I didn't get that feeling while playing Mecha Break, and I think that speaks volumes because it comes back to that focus on coordination and strategy I mentioned earlier. The modes still differ, but because of the mechs having particular advantages and disadvantages in their designs, you still end up having to play tactically. Whether that means you're baiting out lower health mechs in a 6v6 for your team to jump on, or interrupting an objective long enough for your team to advance, you're still considering the long term of your actions in the mission. I never sighed or complained at what the mission was because no matter how the maps or objectives change, I was still thinking about how to make the most of my time as the mech I was. You never want to say, oh god, it's this one for this kind of game, and I think Mecha Break does this well because the mechs are just super fun to play. If you enjoy what you've heard or what you're seeing, I strongly suggest giving this game a try to see for yourself. I know I'll be streaming this game in the future, and maybe do another video about it too. I also want to give a shout out to Firespike here in case you want to see more gameplay and mechs being showcased. I found him back when I was still playing Gundam Evolution, and I've always enjoyed his commentary over gameplay. So if you don't feel like dropping a like or subscribe here, maybe see what he's got cooking. I also don't have enough gameplay to show off the other mechs. But I can confidently say that though Mecha Break isn't available to play outside the closed testing yet, you should absolutely be looking forward to it. There's a lot of potential with this game, and I'm very eager to dive back into it. I'm still under non-disclosure agreements, but I'm able to talk about some things about the game. Feel free to ask about anything in the comments, and if I don't get to it, assume it's still top secret for now. Thank you guys for watching my review on Mecha Break's early access. I can't wait for the full release. But until then, it's just a matter of time. See ya.